Hello, welcome to another episode of Evening Crypto with your boy, your host, your Real Shots 56. Tonight, we want to talk a little bit about the charts and kind of where we are headed. We have a clear path, a clear indication. The last few trading days have given us definite new direction. We can definitely say that we're in a new trend. We were talking about this all of last week. If you were keeping up with the channel, you know that that was being suggested by the price action, and to this point we can definitely confirm that. We can definitely say that there is a new trend in the market as far as Bitcoin goes and where things might be headed. We'll be talking about that, and also want to talk a little bit about Warren Buffett coming out and saying that crypto is still not worth anything. So Justin Sun's 4.2 investment into a to my and now that opinion can now be validated, right? Because it was a $4.2 million investment that was just wasted, right? You could have taken that 4.2 million and done so many other things with it that would have been more worth the investment than trying to get Mr. Rat Poison to to sort of come to the dark side, if you will. Obviously, that didn't happen. It wasn't going to happen. It was too much of a long shot. And I just think that, Justin Sun came out and said that he's highly, highly, what you call it, just starstruck, I guess, or what is the other term that we could use for that? But he's just very illuminated, I guess, by Warren Buffett's not trading start, but investment strategy over the long term, and he looks up to him. But to say that you are going to, maybe in some sort of way have some reciprocity there from Mr. Buffett because you admire him and you took on his investment strategy is a kind of a long shot, right? And we do see it here with the comments from earlier today. Mr. Warren Buffett just saying that he doesn't believe them, that basically they're worth nothing and he doesn't own any. So let's just quickly do a market recap here. We're currently trading at 278 below the 300 marker, and it looks like we're going to be probably staying there for a little while. $158 billion trading volume. Most of that has been selling today. We saw yet another sell-off. So that definitely has brought this volume here as representative of the sellers that have come back into the market, and Bitcoin dominance steady up to 63%, which again is sort of telling that this it's not a altcoin summer, but whatever this little sprint or spur has definitely come to an end, as we do see that all the money that was going into the alts is coming back to Bitcoin, right? It's that pendulum we always talk about coming back now the other way onto Bitcoin side. All right, so let's actually talk about the news real quick. Again, Mr. Warren Buffett coming out and really just pummeling on Bitcoin and what Bitcoin represents, and all these people who are still still talking about how it's just good for speculative purposes, and you're just hoping that the next fool is going to pay more than what you paid for it. Also saying that they have no value, they don't produce anything, you can't do anything with them. This sort of banter that we hear from him on a regular basis. And you guys can go and watch the full interview if you want. I'll leave the link down below in the comments there if you guys want to check that out. And then to kind of wrap it up, his Charlie Munger, one of his partners, at one point called it a turd. So was the money well spent? I don't know. I mean, the money did go to good causes. Among those things, it went to a charity that feeds the poor and the homeless. So, I mean, some of it is going for a good cause, but was he trying to do a little bit too much with that? Absolutely, in my opinion, he could have done. He could have, if he really wanted to feed the hungry and the homeless, he could have done it in so many other ways. And this just, I mean, is there is there no such thing as bad press? Sure, certainly, maybe that is something that we can sort of chalk it up to. However, again, I just think it's money badly spent as per usual. Justin's son, maybe he's a young kid. A lot of people praise him because he's the ultimate marketing machine. I don't really agree with that. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. Mr. Warren Buffett still denying that he owns any Bitcoin, even though allegedly Justin's son did gift him some Bitcoin and I'm sure some Tron coin at their dinner meeting in Omaha. So we'll wrap it up there. You guys leave it down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys think that it was worth it or not. Let's actually jump onto the charts and talk about the new trend that we are in. Let's actually close this out. There we go. We are in a definite new trend. Let's actually get rid of this old trend line, which is no good any longer. And let's actually start to put another trend line over here. Now, there's a couple of things to talk about here right off the bat. We're looking at the 4-hour here. So this is definitely confirmed a new trend. This is sort of the new thing that we're witnessing. We're having to be aware of for trading purposes. If you are a trader, if you're a hodler, whatever, you might have some interest as to where we are going to head or what might happen next. So the high probability is we might find a bounce here, as we kind of are at this present time. We bounced off of the 200 there and the 200 simple. Both of those serving as plenty of support, but then finding immediate resistance here at the 30, not a good sign. We might be range bound here for a little bit. Now this is the 200. Both 200s are coming in here in confluence, right? The big deal, because if we lose that, we might actually come back all the way down to the 377. I think we wick down to the 377 at 9,000, but ultimately I think we should be able to hold 9,200. If we don't, then we're probably going to trade sideways at around 9,050. It's right where this 377 is coming in at, and then we'll have to reassess from there. But I would not be very interested in holding this area or hodling this area. Trust me, I really highly, absolutely don't think that we are going to break through this $9,900 barrier. I highly doubt. We already took 2 chances. They look at these 2 4 hours, right? The high of them was 99.90 and 99.90, right? Exact same high. Retested it twice, rejected off of there, and found a way all the way down to the 200. I think again we are probably range bound within this area. There might be another retest, but believe me, I don't think we're going over 9,900 anytime soon. I think the likelier thing is we're probably going to break down below the 200 simple or 200, 200 simple and 200 EMA here, and down to the bottom of this channel here. Ultimately wick down. That is what I'm seeing here on a 4-hour perspective. Again, look at the volume signature here. The bigger nodes are sell nodes, so it just tells you that the market is in such sentiment and is behaving according to that, right? So let's take a look at the shorts here. Shorts have dropped dramatically at these levels, but honestly, so have the longs, right? The longs have really dropped quite a bit, quite significantly. I don't know that we can really do technical analysis on on the shorts and longs, but it's holding the 200. It seems to be finding a balance. I don't know. I don't know if this is coincidence or just what it is, right? Or maybe it isn't a technical indicator. Not sure. But either way, I mean, the lack in shorts just tells me that those avid shorters, those really savvy traders, are not feeling too sure about this at the mainly because we are at the 200, right? That is probably the main reason. That's the only thing I can deduct, that the market is not really getting overwhelmingly bearish, and people are opening more shorts. I do think it's because we found support at the 200, and people were expecting definitely to find support at these levels. Absolutely, 100%. I was definitely expecting support at the 200. So I don't think I do think that is cause for people to not get ultra bearish at this point. People are probably thinking that we're going to find a bounce way back to 9,900. That seems to be the case. Again, if we do, which I mean, we could be closer to that than we think, because the momentum is starting to bottom out, and we could find a bounce. But there's ultimately a lot of work that has to be done before we can get excited about a retest at 9,900. In which any case, if you decide to open along here, I would by all means close it at 9,900, maybe 9,950, and that's it. Call it a day. Exit position, whether spot or leverage. I would definitely make an exit at 9,900, 9,950. That's been pummeling that message to you guys. So and again, in any case, that might happen, but then if we don't make a consistent move to try and get above 9,900 and above this line of resistance here, which again, I don't think we have the momentum. I don't think we have enough buyers. I don't think we have the bull mentality that we need for that. So I do think we're probably going to be range bound most likely. Not to say that there aren't any opportunities. I do think there is an opportunity for a scalp long here, and then find our way back down, and quite possibly down to the lower 9,000s. That is on the 4 hour. That's what I'm seeing on the 4 hour. Let's look at the daily. Again, look at the daily. I mean, there's nothing down here. And I do, again, as always, I do put a lot more weight on the daily than I do on anything else. Daily is kind of depicting a possible head and shoulders from the lower time frames. Let's look at the 4 hour, see if that is true. I mean, kind of, sort of a mini head and shoulders there. I'm not sure if that's really valid at this point, but that's kind of what the daily is suggesting here with these candles here. We notice we haven't broken down to these levels, but if you look at the daily, it really is suggestive. Is that a word? It really is suggesting that we are going to come down and retest the 55 at 91, 9,200. Okay, so that is the more from a daily perspective, that is the more likely scenario. Let's look at the RSI. I mean, rejected off of this area here. We were another trend that we broke. We were on this sort of trend here, found a temporary bounce, lost it, lost the trend line, went all the way back down here, and it looks like we're being rejected here, not even in the middle of the neutral zone here. So there's not a whole lot of buyer momentum. Again, it really does look like a daily is in confluence with the 4 hour. Again, if we are to break the 200 EMA and SMA on the 4 hour, that's going to be a really quick run drop to 9,200, really quick. So if anything, just watch out for those levels, and just trade accordingly. Stay safe. For me, it's too much of an indecision, and we can see it on these candles. We've been talking about that as well. Bullish, bearish, bullish, and then bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish. I mean, just there's too much indecision, and I mean, what's nice is there's been quite a bit of volatility for those scalps, but then that is all that the market is offering at this point. So again, we are to probably very likely from a daily perspective come back down, as I don't think the RSI is bottoming out. Also, the money flow indicator is way down, very drastically pointed downward. So again, that's another suggestion that we are to come back and retest some lower levels. Look at this node here. This volume node was a major sell-off today, followed by another daily red candle that just opened about roughly just less than 2 hours ago. Just there. So that is what is to come. Again, find this area lower 9,000 as the area of support or the area too long, but make sure that you keep it nice and tidy and short. Don't try to overplay. Don't get too greedy. That's always something that I am personally struggling with, getting too greedy, and then I lose out on some profits for not really following in that strategy. So don't get greedy, guys. It does not pay. Being greedy does not pay. All right. So, okay. I think that is really the main thing I wanted to talk about today. There's nothing bullish really in the short term of this market. So again, trade accordingly. Litecoin is also building that same structure as we were just mentioning with Bitcoin, where things are looking pretty dim and to the downside. We're probably going to trade again within that same style of formation there, same trend. Litecoin looks a bit more drastic. We might find some support around here at 66.71. Probably find a bounce at their area, and then probably retest somewhere around this level here, 78, maybe 76, somewhere in between 76 and 78, before getting rejected and probably coming back down to retest the support there. That is on the daily. Let's look at the 4-hour. Again, another bounce off the 200 there, almost a perfect picture retest of the 200. Not quite, but I mean, good enough, I guess. Good enough. ADA, Cardano. A lot of these charts are going to start looking very similar. Look at that, very, very similar. And just keep in mind that a lot of this, there'll be some exceptions along the way, but a lot of this is just mainly what Bitcoin is doing, right? So it's going to dictate what the market does. A lot of what Bitcoin does will also sort of domino effect to the altcoins. All right, every other chart looks the same. I don't think at this point there's anything that can really be saved. Look at Chainlink, which has been one of the stronger coins, altcoins, just breaking down from this formation and ultimately into a different trend altogether. So let's actually see what's going on with Chainlink. It looks worse than most other charts. So we'll see what happens, but it is starting to look really bad. Maybe a nice little bounce off of this area, hopefully, if Bitcoin doesn't decide to go break down some more. Chainlink would probably, if Bitcoin does that, will probably come back and revisit 357, where the 200 is coming in at. Somewhere between to be a little more, I guess, to offer a little more insight, is anywhere in between the 200 and this previous pivot here at 349. These two areas will probably be a nice little area for support. All right, so if you see Chainlink coming down to these levels, it's probably good to enter a scalp position and probably leave it right at these levels at 378 if we get down to these levels. Okay, don't want to go through all the alts because again, everything is looking pretty similar. Really, what I want to note is, stay safe. Don't try to do too much. Don't be too greedy. Algo is giving everything back. Tesla's is giving everything back. So again, just don't be too greedy. Even the SPY and traditional markets was really a bad day for everything, for all the markets, right? Even gold was down, which is kind of crazy considering that the SPY was down. Gold opened up really well this morning, but then started crashing throughout the day. So that was kind of unexpected on my end. So yeah, definitely some really bad times. The coronavirus keeps menacing a lot of markets, and I do think that is greatly to blame for a lot of this indecision in the market, bad times in the market, some correction times certainly. But I don't think that this is gonna. I don't think this is the end of the bull run in traditional markets. I do think we still have a little bit left in this. All right, guys. So hopefully you got something in return or in exchange for your time here tonight. I do appreciate you joining. Please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you get notified when I put out this content. Other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great week.